back with another video. This is your boy CJ Goodfellas. Let's enter that boxing clinic talk this morning. And Tim Bradley, retired. I know a couple weeks ago that he was going to retire, and he announced it on the Lomachenko-McGregor card on ESPN. And he said the one fight that he wished he had, gotten in his career was versus Floyd Money Mayweather. Now, we know basically that shit wasn't going to happen for the simple fact that, it took, eons to make, Mayweather Pacquiao. Now, some people have their theories about that, and so do I. I really thought that they were trying to get Pacquiao off the juice, and after them going through hard negotiations, Pacquiao performance dropped down, substantially. But that's another story for another day. Talking about Timothy Desert Storm Bradley, how would Top Rank look making Bradley Mayweather, but they couldn't make Manny Pacquiao Mayweather. So that just, it wasn't gonna happen. And even after this was supposed to break the Cold War between Mayweather and Pacquiao, Bob Arum wasn't gonna allow Tim Bradley to fight Mayweather. They was never going to allow Floyd Mayweather, Al Haymon, PBC to be, and then Golden Boy at one point, to be the A side and be able to fully have full control of promoting the fight, having the fight exclusively on Showtime. So they had to get their piece of the pie. When Bradley, he didn't have enough pull to have HBO call the fight and to have them share rights to the fight and all that stuff. So they was never going to give Floyd Mayweather and his team full control, even if they was the clear A side, and even if Timothy Bradley, echoed to Bob Arum, he wanted to fight and go out there and make it happen. It doesn't work like that with Bob Arum. You take a stand like that with Bob Arum, he'll shelf your ass, And Bradley knew, it just wasn't worth, putting his foot down or trying to get out of his contract to do it, But, it was him and, I remember him saying, somebody asked him why he didn't sign with Al Haymon. He said he didn't know any of the, the fighters over there. He said he didn't know anybody over there, anybody connected to Al Haymon, because if you didn't know, he left Gary Shaw because of treatment. He said when he fought Devin Alexander at the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, he said, Devin Alexander was with Don King at the time, I believe. He said to all the events, Alexander was pulling up in a limousine, and he was pulling up in a motherfucking work van, and he said Gary Shaw just wasn't treating him right. And, I guess Bob Arum got in his ear. They made a backdoor deal while he probably still was in his contract with Gary Shaw, and promised him a Pacquiao fight. Put him on one of Pacquiao's undercard versus Casamayor, I believe. Even Casamayor was old as fuck at the time. But he said he didn't feel like, Gary Shaw was, giving him what he, deserved. And that's why he signed with Bob Arum. He said he didn't know anybody with Al Haymon. And I don't know if, he tried to reach out to Al Haymon, or Al Haymon tried to reach out to him, or Golden Boy tried to reach out to him at the time. And I think that would have been a smart move. But, as far as for Al Haymon to get Timothy Bradley over there, because, the one fight I thought Bradley said he would regret he didn't get was the Amir Khan fight. But I guess Mayweather is a bigger name. He a blue chipper. But I thought that if Al Haymon would have got Tim Bradley, I think that would have been, he would have broke Bob Arum's back, right there. And he could have, he really could have controlled the landscape and would have had to make, Bob, negotiate with him and on his terms. But, I know it's funny to say that. But as far as the fight going, man, Bradley said, one thing that would bother, this is a while ago he said this, one thing that would bother Mayweather is my speed, And I don't think Mayweather would have been bothered by his speed. His timing is too good, but his aggressive nature would have made it interesting. The way he's aggressive, the way he can box, especially when he was being disciplined, when he was with Joel Diaz. Him being aggressive, but I think he would have went on his back. I think, fucking with Floyd, he got knocked out, because he don't no quit. Bradley has one of the best chins, but it depends on when it happened. If it happened after the Provodnikov fight, I think he potentially would have got stopped. Even though people say Manny Pacquiao power dropped off so bad, Floyd would have just mentally, you got to think with Floyd. You get mentally fatigued with Floyd. But it would have been a fight that I definitely wanted to see. And then Floyd mentioned his name a few times, but we just went over why it wouldn't happen. But this your boy CJ Goodfellas with the Boxing Clinic. We gone.